Okay, good stuff. So we are going to use prompt roulette, something that I've built. I'm not entirely sure what kind of prompts we're going to be testing today. So I'm just also making this a little bit more interesting for me, doing all those videos. So we've got 20 different prompts. We are going to spin the wheel. Let's do the first one and see what we get. Okay, spinning the wheel. We've got something called Mario style platformer. So this is going to be a game. So let's just copy the prompt itself and go to Cursor and kick off the test. First one is going to be Opus, so Opus 4.8. We are just going to use high. It has the same context window as Sonnet 5, so Opus 4.8. Very simple prompt, as you can see here, and just kick this off. Okay, Sonnet. We're going to pick Sonnet 5 high at 300K context window and kick this off. Okay, so Opus is already testing it in the Playwright browser, as you can see, and Sonnet is, let's check it out. It is still thinking. I have no idea what's happening here. We'll give it some more time, but as you can tell, Opus was way quicker. It created a to-do list. It did create over 1,000 lines of code. It ran the Playwright MCP. And yeah, I mean, so far, Opus seems to be way better when it comes to actual tool calls and the speed of it as well. Okay, so after 3 minutes, Sonnet just decided to create a to-do list. Okay, guys, this is just ridiculous. So Sonnet took 22 minutes, as you can see here, just for this small game, 22 minutes. And as you can see in the report itself, it took 148,000 for the context window out of 300,000, which is a lot for such a small ask. In comparison, Opus did take 5 minutes, which is something that I would expect. So 5 minutes, and then the actual tokens used is 68,000. So huge difference. And let's have a look at the actual output of it. Okay, so this is the Sonnet version. We have sound. Not sure if this is recording the sound, but as you can see, the game works. Character kind of looks even like Mario. There's game over. Pretty awesome. We've got an enemy. I mean, obviously I suck in this game, but yeah, I mean, looks good. 5 minutes and start the game. Okay, so it looks a little bit, I guess, a little bit more comprehensive. The character doesn't look like Mario. Well, that's okay. So same controls. I think graphically it looks probably more interesting. But for 22 minutes... Okay, so there's different types of enemies. Okay, so the next spin. Let's have a look. What are we gonna get? Something simple or complicated? Okay, so we've got our prompt. This is a single HTML file, again, animation of flock of birds, which is going to interact to the movement of the cursor. So let's have a look at this, copy the prompt. Okay, so Opus 4.8 high, as you can see here. And let's send this off. Sonnet high, send this off. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Opus took 1 minute and 42 seconds, as you can see here, 1 minute 42 seconds. And we've got 50K tokens used, something that I would probably expect. So 1 minute 42 seconds looks like this, which is exactly what was supposed to be put together by the LLM. So we've got our predator. So the predator is the cursor itself. As you can see, there is a collision and the elements are trying to move away from it. We've got a bunch of options here, so we can reduce the number of agents or birds or fishes or whatever. We can use the separation as well, so separate them. We can change the trail as well, which looks quite nice actually. Yeah, so this is what I would expect. So this one is Opus 4.8, 1 minute 42 seconds and 50K tokens. Now guys, so it did work for probably 20 minutes. But as you can see here, it doesn't actually show the proper time. So it says worked for 21 seconds, which is a lie. It did not work for 21 seconds. Again, it took ages. I just feel like I have aged by at least 1 year. So anyway, what this Sonnet 5 does, it actually uses subagents. In this case, it actually used for such a simple task. Sonnet 4.5, not thinking. It used it, I believe, 4 times. We can see it being used twice, but it used it more times. And then this LLM, just so much thinking, I don't understand why. Crazy, crazy slow. In terms of token usage, you can see it's 150,000 tokens used for such a simple and stupid task. I am super disappointed. It does like console log checks, again, Sonnet 4.5 thinking, where I said, such a simple prompt, the LLM should be able to make a judgment call, right? What it needs to do. This is a small ask. Opus did a great job. 1 minute, let's say 2 minutes. Okay, so this one is Sonnet version 5, and this is my predator, and it does react. There's obviously less elements here. It looks nice, but does it look better when it comes to Opus? I don't think so. Let's have a look at the options. Then there's a perception radius, whatever, separation, cohesion, trail length. I mean, it works, but it's definitely not worth that many tokens and like 30 times longer. Okay, let's do another test. Let's see what we get. Image editor. Wow, okay, so let's see how this works. So it's gotta be a Photoshop style image editor, again in single HTML. Okay, Sonnet 5 high. Paste the prompt. Again, very simple prompt, nothing complicated. Okay, Opus 4.8 high, same prompt. Again, guys, same environment, same tool calls, same MCPs. Okay, Opus took, let's say, 8 minutes, and it did take 84K tokens used. Let's have a look at what it built. Okay, so this is Opus 4.8. We've got our brush. Yeah, so we've got our brush. Can select the color, change the size. Pretty cool. What else can we do? Erase. We've got layers as well, so we can rearrange them. We can load images. Okay, so this time Sonnet was better. So Sonnet 5 high, it took just 9 minutes. And it didn't use much of the thinking itself or subagents, not entirely sure why. And it only used 92K tokens, which is pretty nice. So very similar to Opus. Obviously, this one would be cheaper. So let's have a look what it actually built. Okay, so it is very similar to UI, at least, is very similar to the Opus version. Can we draw? Yes, we can. Change the color. We can do all of that. We can add a layer. They all kind of succeeded, I guess. So 0.2 Opus and 0.2 Sonnet. Same level of quality, I would say. Okay, let's do one more test here. See what we get. Oh, we're getting a canvas. So a collaborative infinite canvas, Miro style like. Damn, so this one is a little bit more comprehensive. It's a proper PRD document. Okay, first one is Opus 4.8 high. As you can see, there's a lot. Okay, Sonnet, as you can see, 5 high, same PRD, and this send it off. So Opus has finished. It took 44 minutes, which is, I think, reasonable for such a big product requirement document. It did use almost the entire context window. It didn't really use any subagents from what I can tell. The Sonnet one is still cooking. So let's actually have a look at the Opus. Okay, Opus 4.8. We've got our infinite canvas. It used Vite application with a backend as well to store the information. So what you can see is templates, I guess, similar to what Miro does. So let's actually maybe pick a flowchart. So this is the template. You can zoom in, zoom out. Keyboard works as well. So space for panning. We can actually move elements. We can change the text. Let's add an element, maybe a post-it. Test works. Can we move it? We can. We can rotate it. Yeah, I mean, something you would expect from Miro. We can connect. elements as well together. Yeah, this is awesome. We can add a comment. I mean, this is pretty comprehensive, right? For 44 minutes, Opus 4.8. Okay, so Sonnet 5 has finished. It took around an hour, so almost 20 minutes longer than Opus 4.8. I don't see it using any subagents, which is kind of funny because for those small, easier tasks, it did use subagents, which is a little bit stupid, but it is what it is. So anyway, in terms of tokens, it did use less tokens than Opus 4.8, but it was slower, and we will have to look at the actual output. So let's have a look at what it has produced. Okay, so as we can tell, it is way less comprehensive than the Opus 4.8. So this is Sonnet version 5, Opus 4.8. So let's actually create a board maybe. Okay, so again, emojis, pretty typical for an AI slop, I would say. Missing text, or the text is just white, not entirely sure, but let's click on it. Created a Kanban board. The pan works, so the keyboard shortcuts work. We've got the multiplayer here, so let's open this in a new tab and see what happens. Yeah, so the multiplayer works. I can see myself on the canvas, which is pretty nice. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so it renders it twice when you type, and then it goes to just one text. Let's add a comment. Oh, that is super lazy. So this is the way you add comments. Even though it used less tokens, a little bit less tokens, I would have probably spent more time fixing it, right? Making sure that it actually is on the same level as the Opus one here. Opus 4.8 definitely wins in terms of like the modern UI and the fact that everything pretty much works. And the fact that it took almost 20 minutes longer, I'll definitely lean towards Opus 4.8. Okay, there you have it, guys. 4 tests, pretty quick ones. Let me know in the comments. I'm not sure. The first 2 tests, Sonnet just failed. Took way too longer. Not much of a difference when it comes to the token usage as well. Maybe it's something that I have done wrong, or maybe it's the cursor's fault and the way it kind of handled it. Not entirely sure. Let me know what is your experience with Sonnet 5, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.